Hey loves, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm recording this one in this kind of parkland area near where I live. So I don't have my mic, I'm not recording it straight into my laptop. This is a phone job, but it's it's progress over perfection, evidently. And I'm really glad that you're joining me today for this episode, because it's all about what to do when you lose your voice. And one of the things to do, before I dive into the three kind of top tips that I have put together for you, one of them is to change your environment. So it's getting outside and going for a walk and getting some fresh air. Your voice doesn't come and find you on your sofa. Your voice doesn't come and find you in front of your laptop. Sometimes your voice doesn't even come and find you when you've got your mic in your hand. So it's really about changing up your environment and pattern interrupting yourself. And when I say pattern interrupt, that's it's an NLP term, and it's where you disrupt the flow of your thoughts. You disrupt your body and your mind from the line of thinking that it's currently going down. So if you're sitting there thinking, I don't know what my voice is, I don't know what to say, I feel so blocked, you're interrupting that by changing something. So going outside and going into nature, and even that looks like going to your local park, taking a different route to do kind of your normal everyday activities, is acting as a pattern interrupt. Even if you find yourself sitting and you're having a complete block about something, stopping and going to make a cup of tea, it changes things up. So your voice, like I said, you don't find your voice sitting on your sofa. You don't find your voice doing like forcing and pushing. You find your voice when you give it space, and you find your voice when you use your voice. So that is tip number 1 for you. Use your voice to find your voice. And you can do that in different ways. So if you're a podcaster, pick up the mic and just start talking. Loosen up those muscles. You can pick up the pen and start writing, and take off the pressure that you're writing for a specific purpose. So you're not writing for it to be that newsletter or that Instagram caption or that guest post, or it's kind of, you're not writing with content in your mind at first. Just allow yourself to write for writing's sake, because that will loosen you up and help you to develop your voice again. So that's my real tip number 1, use your voice. Number 2, watch your consumption. So some of you would have heard me talk about this before, and I make no apologies, because it's a reminder that I know so many of you need to hear again. I believe that there's a clear creativity consumption, what should we call it, kind of balance going on. And when it is out of balance, literally like the scales, right? So you've got creativity on one side and you've got consumption on the other. And when it's tipped out of balance, when you're consuming more than you're creating, it is literally strangling your ability to create. So, for instance, if you're waking up in the morning and the first thing you're doing is you're consuming what everybody else thinks about the world, what everybody else in your industry is doing, what everybody else in your friends and family circles are doing. You're consuming all of that before you've even had a chance to think about yourself, and you form your own opinions and your own thoughts. And that's about yourself, right? But then that transfers into your work and the message that you want to put out into the world. And in this day of social media, we can literally know what everyone thinks about everything, and you've not had a chance to let your own voice breathe and have some space. So that's an example of where you're watching your consumption over your creativity, and really even putting it down to the time of day that you're consuming versus creating. So something that I've really got my wholehearted members to do is to create before they and cut down the amount of your consuming, and your creativity will increase. Something else you can look at as well is challenging yourself. So, I mean, I get it. The addiction to social media is oh so real, and the desire to want to scroll is ever present, right? These social media companies are making it even harder for us to not do it. But a way that you can sort of kind of flip the script a little bit is to, every time you want to consume, or you find yourself consuming, ask yourself, have I created? Actually, let me use this time to create something before I consume. Or what I like to do is to trick myself, and it's like, well, I'll allow myself 20 minutes of scrolling once I've created. So those small things that you can do so that you can get back hold of that balance, so that it's tipping more into you're creating more than you're consuming, because that is going to help you find your voice. And again, this pertains to my first point, because where I said you find your voice by using your voice. In the creating that you're doing, it doesn't necessarily have to be creating for an audience, especially at first when you're trying to just loosen everything up. You're just creating for creating's sake. So maybe you're just turning to your journal and letting the words flow. Maybe you're just turning on the voice memo app on your phone and just chatting, just talking. Because whether you're creating it for your brand, for your audience, for content or not, you are loosening up that muscle so that you can get back into the swing of kind of talking your message from the rooftops and speaking it out loud. My third tip for what to do when you are losing your voice and losing that sense of what it is to speak to more of your perfect for you clients. Have conversations, right? Because when you are having conversations with your perfect for you clients, you are in the work. And when you are in the work, it reconnects you with why you started. It reconnects you with the joy that you have for it. It reconnects you with your enthusiasm and excitement. So be in those conversations and seek out those conversations where you can. And there are a number of different ways to do that. So have more calls, more sales call, whatever you want to call them. I call them chemistry calls, sales calls, clarity calls, discovery calls, but have more of those calls with your clients. I mean, you should be having more of those anyway, because depending on the nature of your business, but that's how you're able to convert during those calls. But also, even if you get no's, there is so much data in the no, and there's totally a podcast episode coming on that. But within those conversations, there's just so much gold there. There's gold for the excitement and the reconnection it gives you, but also for the content ideas. And it really helps you to sit back into the work, because probably part of the reason that you have lost your voice and struggle finding it is because you feel that disconnect to the work and to the people that you're doing it for and that you're here to serve. So by being in those conversations helps you to find your voice, and you're physically, literally using your voice, right? And for those of you who immediately said in your heads or you might have said out loud, when I made this suggestion that you don't have the clients yet to speak to, I urge you to go and find them. You have them around you, whether it be friends, whether it be people that you know who are fellow brand owners, people on the internet. If you want to, you can go and be speaking to them, right? And have those conversations. So I urge you to get out of your comfort zone and start conversating and seeking them out and finding them. You might have friends who, in actual fact, are your perfect for you clients. have conversations with them and really listen and allow yourself to talk about your work. That is a way for you to be having those conversations if you feel like you don't have kind of a full list of clients yet, or a full calendar of sales calls in the diary or anything like that. Part of your job is to seek out those perfect for you clients, and this is good practice for that, so that you allow yourself to be in the conversation. And I'm not going to say go and talk about your work to anyone, because often if you're talking to people who don't get it, it can just be soul destroying on some days and it can be really difficult. So it's seeking out your perfect for you clients. And loves, we have the internet, right? We have the internet, you can find them. At the very least, if you feel like you want to do it in the moment, pick up your phone, click on the voice memo app and talk. I'm a big advocate of inviting my clients to talk to out loud to their perfect for you clients. So when they're writing their posts, they're talking to that one person. When they are creating their videos or their podcast, they're talking to that person. Recreate that scenario. Pick up your voice memo, and I hope you've named your perfect for you client, but pick up your voice memo and what would you say to him or her if you were talking to them? Do that. Be in the conversation, be in the work, and that can help you to find your voice. So I really hope that you have found this helpful, and I urge you to bookmark it, because that's the thing with our voices, right? It's not necessarily this constant thing that's always there. It ebbs and flows with how we're feeling, how our energy is, what's going on in the rest of life. So bookmark this episode that you can return to as a reminder as and when you need it. If you need more help with this, my diary is open for private clients, so get in touch. I've got a new way of working with private clients called Create and Elevate, which is the most nourishing and nurturing way to get support for you to build a brand that you love without the burnout, without the overwhelm, in a way that you just really enjoy it. So check that out. And also the waitlist for Wholehearted is opening very soon. So look out for that too. And come and join me on Instagram. Come and say hello. I love chatting in the DMs. So my DMs are open for us to talk. Anyways, love, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and I will see you really soon.